In Microsoft Entra ID, access starts with identity, but it does not stop there. In this module, we'll connect users, groups, roles, and administrative boundaries into one administration model, then see how governance keeps privileges intentional, temporary, and reviewable. We've moved from classic Active Directory foundations into the cloud identity model of Microsoft Entra ID. Now the focus shifts from architecture to administration, how users, groups, roles, boundaries, and privileged access work together. This foundation prepares us for modern authentication, single sign-on, and Entra security controls. A Microsoft Entra tenant is a cloud directory made up of identity objects. User objects represent people, or sometimes accounts, that can sign in. Groups collect users, devices, or service principals so access, licensing, and collaboration can be managed at scale. Applications and service principals represent software identities, while device objects represent endpoints that may need trust or compliance checks. These objects also carry attributes such as department, manager, user principal name, and account status. Those attributes are more than labels. They become inputs for automation, conditional access, and token-based decisions across cloud and SaaS resources. A cloud user account is the identity record Entra ID uses to answer 3 questions. Who is this? Where do they belong? And what should they be allowed to do? Identifiers like the user principal name and object ID make the account unique. Organizational details like department, job title, manager, and employee ID help automate grouping and policy. The account source also matters: cloud only, synchronized, or guest. Finally, settings such as enabled state, MFA, passwords, and licenses directly shape sign-in and access behavior. Entra ID can hold more than employee accounts. Member users are the internal workforce identities your organization owns and manages, such as employees and service-related accounts. Guest users represent people outside the organization, like partners, vendors, or customers. They are invited through B2B collaboration and often authenticate with their own home identity provider. This distinction matters during migration. Workforce accounts and collaboration accounts should be identified separately, because guest access needs controls, such as conditional access, entitlement management, external collaboration settings, and regular access reviews. A useful way to separate group types is by purpose. Security groups are the access control container. Microsoft 365 groups are the collaboration container. Use security groups to grant resource permissions, assign applications, target conditional access, or define administrative scope. Use Microsoft 365 groups when users need a shared workspace across Teams, SharePoint, Outlook, Planner, and related services. Both group types can use assigned or dynamic membership, so membership style is not the main difference. During migration, map each legacy AD group to its business purpose, not just its name. Dynamic groups turn identity data into automation. Instead of adding people or devices manually, Entra ID evaluates attributes against rules. For example, if department equals finance, the user joins the finance group. If user type equals guest, the user can be placed into a guest access group. The same idea applies to devices, using properties that support configuration targeting or management policies. The benefit is scale, especially during migration and licensing changes. The risk is bad data. If attributes are inconsistent, the wrong users may receive access, so rule design and attribute quality matter. Group-based licensing builds on that same automation model. Instead of assigning licenses one user at a time, you assign licenses to a group. When a user's attributes change, such as department, location, role, or employee type, dynamic group rules can add that user to the right licensing group. The assigned license then applies the selected service plans, and the user gains access without an administrator editing the account directly. The key control point is error monitoring. Service plan conflicts, missing dependencies, or unavailable licenses can block assignment. Done well, this creates faster onboarding, less manual work, and more consistent governance. Administrative roles are how Entra ID turns privilege into specific job responsibilities. Rather than making every support or operations person a broad tenant admin, you assign roles that match the work they actually perform. A user administrator can manage users. A group's administrator manages groups. Application administrators and security administrators focus on their own domains. The role to treat with particular caution is global administrator, because it can control almost everything in the tenant. Good role design starts with least privilege. Grant the narrowest role that gets the job done. Review it regularly, and avoid permanent high privilege access when temporary access is enough. Privileged roles are like keys to secure rooms. A global administrator role is a master key, so it should be rare, protected, and temporary when possible. Most administrators only need a key for one room, such as identity management, security administration, or audit monitoring. Keep everyday email and productivity work separate from admin accounts and require strong authentication for any privileged sign-in. Also avoid mixing duties that conflict, such as managing security policy and controlling audit logs. If one admin account is compromised, limited roles reduce the blast radius and preserve accountability. Role assignments become safer when scope is treated as part of the permission. Some roles truly need tenant-wide reach, but many administrative tasks can be limited to a department, region, user population, or specific resource. Administrative units are the main pattern for this kind of delegation. An HR admin can manage HR users, while a regional admin manages only users in that region. This is especially useful in universities, global companies, and managed service environments. Just remember, Entra administrative units are not Active Directory OUC. They support delegated identity administration, not every OU or group policy function. Migrating delegation is not a one-for-one conversion. In Active Directory, authority often follows the OU design, ACLs, nested groups, group policy, and broad domain admin models. In Entra ID, delegation shifts toward role-based access, administrative units, group ownership, and service-specific controls like Intune, conditional access, and application administration. The goal is to preserve the business intent. Ask who needs to manage which users, devices, apps, or policies, and under what limits. Then redesign the cloud model around least privilege instead of copying the old directory structure. Privileged Identity Management, or PIM, changes admin access from always on to available when justified. A user can be eligible for a powerful role without actively holding it day to day. When they need to perform an administrative task, they request activation. That request can require MFA, a business justification, ticket details, and sometimes approval. If approved, the role becomes active only for a defined window, such as a few hours. When time expires, access is removed automatically. This gives administrators flexibility while enforcing least privilege for high-impact roles like global administrator or security administrator. Access governance is not a one-time approval. It is a recurring control that asks, does this person still need this access, and is privileged access being used safely? Access reviews help validate group membership, app assignments, guest users, and role eligibility. The reviewer might be a manager, owner, administrator, or even the user. PIM adds monitoring for risky assignments and activations. Together, reviews, alerts, logs, and reports create evidence for audits, support troubleshooting, and help remove stale access before it becomes a security problem. Entra ID administration starts with clean identity design, accurate users, well-planned guest access, and groups that scale assignments. Roles should delegate only what administrators truly need, within clear boundaries. Governance tools like PIM, access reviews, and monitoring then reduce standing privilege and keep access accountable. Next, we connect this foundation to modern authentication, single sign-on, and broader security controls.